My father froze at the airport when a man in a navy suit handed him a thick envelope with my name printed across it. Derek, my brother, stood beside him, pale, pretending it wasn't happening. 4 days earlier, they'd laughed while I walked out of my mother's dining room. That was after Derek said, "You're not part of the family. Don't show up," I didn't shout. I just left, and now here we were, their world unraveling exactly the way they designed mine to. Before I tell you what really happened that night, hit like and drop a comment telling me where you're listening from. Have you ever drawn a line with family and refused to erase it? I remember that Sunday like it was supposed to mean something. My mother called it family dinner, the way she always did, as if the word alone could fix the cracks. I spent half the afternoon in my apartment kitchen, layering lasagna, brushing garlic butter over bread, choosing a bottle of Merlot I couldn't really afford. It wasn't about the food. It was my peace offering, my proof that I still cared enough to show up. Their house smelled like cinnamon candles and old photographs. Too sweet, too staged. The laughter I heard from the doorway died the second I walked in. My father looked up from his phone and nodded once. My mother smiled the way she smiled at polite neighbors. Derek had his arm thrown over the back of his chair, bragging about his new business deal, the same one I'd quietly kept afloat 3 times already. I set my dishes down, the steam fogging the plastic table runner, and waited for someone to make room. No one did. Dinner unfolded like it always did. Chaotic, loud, a performance with no audience for me. They talked about the upcoming family reunion in spring, tossing around dates and hotel names as if I wasn't sitting right there. I listened, nodded where I was supposed to, my heart pounding harder than it should have. I didn't want an invitation. I just wanted acknowledgement. When the conversation paused, I smiled and said, as evenly as I could, "Just tell me when the reunion is. I'll book early this time." The words hung in the air for a second too long, then fell flat. My mother's fork scraped her plate. Derek didn't look up. My father cleared his throat and asked if anyone wanted more bread. I should have been used to it by then, the way they erased me in plain sight. But something about that moment made the air feel thinner, sharper. Maybe it was the effort behind my calm voice, or maybe I was finally old enough to recognize cruelty when it wore manners. I poured myself a small glass of wine and sat back, watching the scene play out like I wasn't in it. The golden child. The mother keeping peace through silence. The father measuring control in tone. I told myself to breathe, to not ruin another Sunday. But a part of me already knew, peace that depends on silence isn't peace. It's training for surrender. That was the last Sunday I ever tried to earn my place at their table. Then it happened. Derek leaned back in his chair, that smug half grin he used when he wanted to land a punch without moving his hands. "You're not part of the family," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Don't show up." No one gasped. No one told him to stop. The room didn't explode. It caved in. My mother pressed her napkin to her lips, trying not to smile. My father slapped the table once, laughing like it was the funniest thing he'd heard all week. The noise filled the room, sharp, tinny, bouncing off the walls. I remember thinking how strange it was that a sound could hurt more than words. I stared at the lasagna I'd made, steam still rising, cheese bubbling like it belonged to someone else. I didn't say a word. I folded my napkin, pushed my chair back slowly enough to make them uncomfortable. "Come on, Jenny," Derek smirked. "Can't you take a joke?" I met his eyes for the first time that night. "You meant it," I said softly. He didn't deny it. None of them did. I grabbed my coat. "Jenny, stay." My mother's voice trailed behind me. "It's just dinner." "No," I said, sliding my arms into my sleeves. "It's a message." I got it. The air outside was freezing. Behind me, the laughter started again, muffled through the door. I stood on the porch, breathing in cold air until my chest stopped shaking. Then I walked to my car, lasagna untouched, still steaming in my hands. There's a kind of silence that doesn't beg for explanation. It announces its own ending. The next morning, I woke to sunlight cutting through my blinds. No calls. No messages. No apology. By the fourth day, a text finally came. Hey, weird question. Did your bank block the transfer? The loan payment didn't go through. No greeting. No sorry. Just business. I typed 4 words that felt like they'd been waiting years to exist. Me. Not family. Not funded. Then I blocked his number. An hour later, another text appeared. From my father. I didn't open it. I just flipped the phone over and let it buzz until it stopped. That night, I sat surrounded by years of bank statements, proof of how long I'd been funding their comfort at the expense of my sanity. When I was done, I whispered to no one, "That's over now." Days passed. No calls, no laughter. Just silence, until the knock came, hard, repetitive, entitled, through the peephole, my father's shoulders. Derek pacing beside him, I didn't answer. Silence is a mirror, and it shows people exactly who they are when they can't use you anymore. 3 days later, an envelope arrived at my door. Plain white, my name in my father's handwriting. Inside, $400 in 20s. No note. Just guilt. I stared at it for a long time, then dropped it in the trash. That sound, the soft thud of bills hitting plastic, felt cleaner than any apology could. When my father finally called, his voice was tight. "The loan payment failed," he said. "It's a mess. We just needed a few days' grace. It's not like we used you, Jenny. Don't take it personally." I laughed once, quiet and sharp. "That's the problem. You never did." And I hung up. That night, I opened my banking app. $20,000. Over 2 years, every emergency, every favor, every lie. I printed it all, highlighted every transfer, then wrote on the envelope, "This is who I've been. Ask yourself who you've been." And I mailed it. 2 weeks later, my father and Derek stood at the airport when a man in a Navy suit handed them a thick envelope with my name across it. Summons. Official and final. Miss Parson. My lawyer texted me one line. "They've been served. I didn't feel victory." Just peace. The kind you build yourself, after years of bleeding for people who never noticed the wound. I used to think peace meant everyone getting along. Now I know. It means walking away, and still wishing them well. Their reunion went on without me. The table perfectly set, except for one empty chair in the middle. That space said everything I never had to. If you've ever had to choose yourself over people who kept taking, remember this. Silence isn't weakness, it's recovery. Thank you for listening to my story. Tell me where you're watching from, and if you've ever had to draw a line with family. Your stories keep this space honest. And don't forget to hit subscribe. There's more truth where this came from.